Welcome to UrbanHood, your learning platform. Urban Food Alliance is a 501c nonprofit which reaches out to the needy and the homeless who need warm, fresh cooked, nutritional meals. Urban Food Alliance services the needy in our neighborhoods. Urban Food Alliance works in conjunction with UrbanHood and Speak EQ. UrbanHood is a free learning platform to promote personal development and financial awareness. We simply ask our visitors and members to make a donation to Urban Food Alliance if they are gaining from the knowledge provided. Speak EQ offers classes at low cost and donates the profits from those classes to Urban Food Alliance. Our mission is educating families to build and preserve capital. Our vision is that all families deserve happiness and financial freedom.
Lines of people formed outside of this New Jersey restaurant today. Khan Baba of Franklin Park offers free meals to families every Friday during lunchtime. The response from the community has been overwhelming.
I think it's great because there's a lot of people that are not working and we're all suffering. You know, we have kids, grandkids.
It's very simple. If you walk up, they ask for your name, address, and phone number. They asked me how many children I had, and they gave us some little goodies, some snacks for the kids.
Today I'm seeing an enormous amount of people that need help, and it's really it's sad. But we are very happy to help in any way that we can.
The Urban Food Alliance to reduce starvation in local neighborhoods.
And what I see, the Spanish community, they don't get nothing. So I was thinking to help them out because mostly they work in the restaurant business and they lost their job.
In the state of New Jersey, 1 out of 7 people sleep hungry. That's when I said, look, you know, if you look around, your neighbors can go hungry.
Welcome, guys. I am Mushib Guyan. I'm the founder of Urban Food Alliance and Urban Hood organization. I'll tell you a little bit more about our organization. Our website is urbanhood.org. It's for focusing mostly education, and Urban Food Alliance is focusing the food, you know, where we give food in states, in domestic and international. We have existence in 3 different countries today. As I speak, and in future we are expanding our service in worldwide to helping the humanity. We'll go over it a little bit more. But before we do go forward, please do understand everything what we're sharing is all before you start using the trade with your hard-earned money. Lastly, if UrbanHood is not responsible for any losses you may incur. So now let's share with you what is UrbanHood and what do we offer to our members, you know, who join us and then learn and grow with us. UrbanHood is a sister organization of Urban Food Alliance where we feed the needy. Here we do not have any discrimination, nothing, you know, in the state of New Jersey. We operate every Friday on our website. If you can go urbanfoodalliance.org, you'll see the event and the daily activities happens on. And especially every Friday that we serve about 150, 160 families. And the families is that the meal of 4 members of family member gets a weekly supply from us. And UrbanHood, what we offer to our member, the education, number 1 is education. And we strongly believe in giving you fish instead of, we strongly believe in helping you to catch fish instead of giving you fish. Or we want you learn with us so you know exactly at what time and when to get in, when to get out. Those are the knowledge we share with the events like this. And then number 2, what we offer to our members, and members, you know, we'll go over a little bit more details and how do you get it and what benefit you get being a member. If you are new with it, new with investing, we recommend you join our community, become a free member, and then learn. As you learn and get more experience, then be a paid member. Being a paid member, your money is when the money we collect, we use for the cause. And at the same time, it also costs to cover the cost. So that's the application tools. Many of you know that yahoo.com that has a free financial information. But if you want to become a premium member of Yahoo, it's going to charge you close to 100, $200 monthly or yearly. You can take a look at it. Same thing that trading application like Benzinga.com, you can see monthly cost is over $100 or there. But being a member with us, that you get all those information that where all the other paid services offer you. But here we pull our money, we help each other, and through our custom build some of the tools we offer to our member. Third thing is that we offer members to learn from each other. We have over 4,000 members in our community now, but not all of them are active. Over 1,000 people are active. Out of that, about paid members, we have about 300 plus paid members. There are a lot of traders, the day traders and their swing traders, all of them during the day support and help answers to the question for newbies or for other investors, and we invest together. So at the end of the day, we learn from each other. We are down to earth, and we protect and guard each other's hard-earned money. This is what we are UrbanHood offer to our members. Now, one of the things we are proud of that what happened for those who became our members with us and still invested with us. You can see our track record from last month. Our last month, we have given about 31 trades to the people who doesn't have too much time. They just say, okay, tell me what to buy, what to sell. We give a signal, daily signal. We tell you what price to buy, what price to get out, and also we tell you at when to take a loss. You can see from month of June, we had excellent week. We have given about 81 trades. We had 52 success, 18 fail, and some of them did not go right. At the right side, you can see here. Here, just make sure that you guys see, follow along with me. You see that on the right side, our success rate was 74%. Understand this: if you are trading in a stock market and you can have more than that, 60%, 50%, 60% trade. Excellent. To just follow those, because your goal is try to be right more than being wrong. In trading, it's gonna happen, but at some point you need to learn when to get out. That's our last month. Now we are very proud that this month, the month of July, we had awesome week. You can take a look at it. That I will have the updated data from the team this coming week. But I wanted to find out how we are doing last week. At some point in 27th, you can see that on 27th, our success rate is about the 86%. I was honest. I was very impressed with the team that what we are bringing to our members. So those who is new to us are still thinking that, hey, where do I go? You have to do your own due diligence and look at the track record, what other people are doing, and look at that, what value you are getting. So these are the things these are the things we bring to our members. At the same time, we all ask you as a member, if we help you to make extra money, please donate to our cause and support our cause. You can see this is a flyer that anybody can take a screenshot of it. You're welcome to be part of it and just contact anyone. The information is sitting here. That this happen every week where we give perishable, non-perishable food to our members and the people we serve in state of New Jersey now. This is overseas. As happened like last week, we have over 130 families that we served. So we expanded our service in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And we are looking in other areas.
Look at the E-mini futures. What are we seeing here? Let me erase this. I think someone's drawing on my. But what are we seeing, right? Market E-mini futures are currently green, right? They're bouncing off that support level around that 3182 area right here. Certainly, it's sort of still bouncing. I believe if we take a look at the moving averages, bear with me. I think it bounced off the moving averages. Let's let these load up. On the 4-hour chart. Yep, there it is. So this is what the current market looked like, right? We kind of saw this nice bounce off this 100-day moving average on the 4-hour on the E-mini futures. I think this is going to be a crucial point. Also, it's keeping in mind that where is this thing taking? Also keeping in mind that the RSI is around that 43 value, so it's a little closer to being undervalued than it is overvalued. I think that we're going to have a big week, right? Keeping in mind a lot of economic events coming up this week, as well as a lot of big companies reporting earnings. Usually when a lot of these big companies that are reporting earnings, like Apple, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think we're going to share that earnings calendar with you guys as well. But as of right now, we're seeing the E-mini futures are pushing up green. I think they're getting some resistance around that 50-day moving average. If we can see a nice little break above the 3231, it can potentially retest the highs. I think we're going to see some new floor ground there. Now, if you take a look, what are we looking at? The VIX. I want to focus on the VIX. The VIX is another one of those crucial points. Last week, it started trading below $24, I believe. If we can see it break below $24 and hold there, I think that's going to be a very, very crucial point for the current market. Keep in mind that, once again, it is earnings week, and during earnings week, premiums tend to get extremely expensive. And, that's because the volatility begins to go up, ID goes up. When your implied volatility goes up, your vega value of your options go up. So for those of you that are trading options, the premiums are going to be a tad bit pricier than they usually are. But if you take a look at the current conditions right here, as you guys see, the VIX was supported at 2341. We saw a nice bounce. If we get a retest and break below that, it would be nice to see it kind of hang around at the bottom right there, as you guys can see on my screen. That's as far as the VIX goes. A few names that I am looking at this week. Apple. Apple did bounce off really nicely off that where is it? Right here. So as you guys can see, Apple has that 356.85 strong level of support, which was previously resistance, and then acted as support here, and it aggressively was bought back here, right, with strong volume, as well as keeping in mind the RSI was very well undervalued. So keep that in mind. I think we're going to see a nice push, as well as if this 20-day moving average is most likely going to cross over the 50-day moving average on the 4-hour. I think we can see some nice moving potential there with Apple. Just keep in mind they are reporting earnings, I think, this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. I think they might be reporting this Thursday. But as you guys can see here on the 1-hour chart, if you begin to see this 20-day moving average begin to cross over the 50-day and then the 100, I think we're going to see some nice upside. As you guys can see, I have my key levels ready. Above 378.2, I think Apple has room to 385. Above 385, I think it's going to test 392. Above 392, I think it has room to 397. And if we break 400, I think we're going to see some new highs for Apple, right? But once again, stocks do usually tend to go higher into earnings. So I'm a little bit bullish as I go, but I'm not going to be answering any significant positions just because the premiums are going to be a little expensive. I usually don't play earnings at all unless I have a risk mitigating strategy. But once again, I just don't think it's worth the risk sometimes. So I like to play the post price action after earnings, right? So that's as far as Apple goes. We saw a nice little aggressive buyback. I think that if Apple dips again, we might see this 356.85 be another strong level of support. We might see another bounce to the upside. Or if it breaks that 356.85, I think we're going to see some room to the downside, maybe even close to this 351, 345 area. Amazon, I believe, is also reporting this upcoming week. Amazon is one of those stocks that has had a nice rally to the upside recently. Obviously, we're down about $344 from the recent high that it made. But this is what my level of support and resistance are looking like. As you guys can see, above 30.30, I think has room to right here first. 30.60, right? Above 30.60, I think has room to 3,100. Once again, similar to Apple, it was undervalued at this $2,887 mark. And I think we might see some strong support, right? So clearly there's some strong demand around that 2,900 level, right? 2,900 seems to be some strong support for Amazon. If that demand gives up, if those buyers are no longer present, we might see some room to the downside just because the stock has been a little bit overextended, right? We have seen a significant rally from 2,600 to almost 3,400. So once again, what we're seeing is a lot of people buying the dip, I'm assuming. But long term, I'm obviously bullish on Amazon. But as you guys can see, we're the moving averages are it's the 100, 50, and 20. If the 20-day moving average begins to cross over the long-term moving averages, I think we're going to start seeing some nice upside there. Now, Tesla is another one of those stocks, right? I mean, Tesla's in a very, very interesting spot right now, and the reason why is because, let me just pull up the chart. Where's my level of support and resistance? Bear with me. Computer's acting really slow today, guys. Sorry about that. But as you guys can see, my chart should pull up shortly. But as you guys can see, I am looking to scalp Tesla this week, right? I mean, as you guys can see, I've done a lot of charting on this recently. I don't know why it's taking so long. Bear with me, guys. In the meantime, just so we have everything ready to go, in the chat box, I'll start writing a few tickers you guys want me to take a look at, and then once I'm done reviewing some stuff that are on my watch, we'll go from there. But there it is, right? You guys can see my screen. Significant amount of price levels, right? I mean, all the way from 100 to all the way to 1800. We have all the levels for Tesla, right? So here's what it's looking like right now, right? It's having a strong level of support, right? That 100-day moving average is definitely being held right now. 20-day moving average is beginning to cross. Stocks do tend to bounce off the 100-day moving averages on the 4-hour chart especially. As you can see, it did it before. Stock dipped down here around that $966 level, and then it bounced pretty aggressively after that off the 100-day moving average, right? Also taking a look at the RSI, we're looking at, surprisingly on the 4-hour chart, it's showing that the RSI is being completely undervalued, right? This is something I think is going to be a very important part for Tesla. Either we're going to see another push to the upside here, or we might see some pullback, right? I think if it goes below 1367 or 1370, my first target is going to be that 1310. But 1310 seems to have a strong area of support for something like Tesla. So I wouldn't be surprised if it bounces from here. But let's keep in mind the 20-day moving average. If it crosses over that 50-day moving average to the downside, I think we're going to see a potential gap that needs to be filled. As you guys can see, around 1220, there's a gap that needs to be filled. If we see a break below 1310, I think it's going to give out, and we might see a gap 1220 to be filled. But once again, it is earnings week. Stocks are going to have a lot of uncertainty. The implied volatility is going to be high. And options for Tesla are already very expensive, so be careful when you trade something like this. If you cannot tolerate the risk of something like Tesla, I do not recommend trading it. Definitely sit out for something like this. But this seems like the general support area for Tesla. 1310, a break below that. I want to see the gap fill at 1220, and then we might see a continuation, right? Once again, I am bullish on Tesla long term, so I'm not too worried about something like Tesla. Microsoft. Microsoft is not really on my radar. Let's see. So similar to Amazon and Apple, a lot of these stocks are being a little undervalued right now. So that's very interesting, right? We're going into a big earnings week, and a lot of these stocks are showing that they're being undervalued, right? So I think we might see stocks go higher into earnings potentially, right? I think similar to Apple and Amazon, we saw that a lot of people bought the dip around 197. It has a similar candlestick is what I'm trying to say. RSI is at 37. I think Microsoft is going to potentially retest these highs again, 216. Previously, 200 was, previously, as you guys can see here, the 198 and 202, from 198 to 202 was a strong area of supply. I think it's now going to act as a strong area of demand. We might see a lot of buyers step in from this 198 to 200 area. I think we're going to see some nice upside for something like Microsoft this week. But since we cannot be completely certain, we need to be ready for both directions. As you guys can see here, a break below 198, first target is going to be 196. A break below 196, room to 193. Below 196, room to 194. Below 194, room to 191. That's what I'm looking at it on an intraday short-term level. But a break above 206, first target is going to be 208. Above 208, first target is going to be 211. And above 211, I think we might see a test. Let's see what we have here. I don't really know, honestly. 211 is definitely some new territory, so I would want to see it play out a little bit more. But that's as far as I have for something like Microsoft. Now, the spiders, right? I mean, I don't know how many people trade the spiders, but sometimes I play options on this. Let's kind of see what I have for them, right? As far as the Fibonacci retracement goes, we got a break above that 0 point mark. So let me get rid of this. Right, so we're seeing it kind of bounce off that 100-day moving average. Once again, stocks tend to do bounce off that 100-day moving average as support. If we get a break above 322, we might see some upside, right? Once again, keep in mind, it is earnings week, so we might see a new test of these highs. We might even see 330, I think, by the end of summer. That's my personal bias. Once again, I think that, with a lot of the current market conditions, as well as, Trump always pumping up the markets, I think with the big earnings week ahead of us, let's kind of see how it goes, right? That's as far as the SPY goes, right? I mean, it's nothing really that interesting. I don't really have that many price levels on it. 322 is the main key level. I want to see a break above in order to test these new highs of 328 and 330, okay? Other than that, I don't really have anything significant on my radar, so I'm just going to go over to the chat box, see what you guys have for me, and we're going to go from there. Amazon, is it looking to make new all-time highs post earnings? That's a good question. If I knew that, I would be a millionaire. But I mean, Amazon, once again, right? I mean, post earnings, you can't really make any assumption because once again, many times a lot of stocks do report good earnings, but it's sometimes the conference call that matters more. And the reason why is because it's less about what the earnings actually are, right? That's a small part of it. Moreover, it's about how investors react, what the sentiment is, what shareholders are willing to do, what big money is feeling, right? So you kind of have to just wait it out. If everyone knew what companies were going to do post the earnings, then everyone would be a millionaire, right? But if you are looking to play Amazon to the upside post earnings, these are my key levels. You can use them accordingly, as you see here. But other than that, I don't really touch stocks until they report earnings, right? Boeing. So Boeing, I think, has been a very interesting stock lately. We saw it hit a low of 90, and then it is currently sitting around 173, right? So once again, this is one of those stocks that's entirely dependent on a catalyst, right? Whether it's news, a tweet from Donald Trump, or some sort of earnings, right? I don't know if Boeing is reporting earnings this week, but once again, I think I've said this before. I think I'm waiting for a breakout for Boeing. And the reason why is because, as you guys can see here, I said this every stock market talk, we're seeing a similar pattern being formed, right? We might see maybe some short squeeze happen. I'm not too sure. But, when stocks tend to consolidate for a very long period of time, that usually indicates that a bigger move is setting up. As you guys can see, there's some consolidation happening there. In the past, we saw some consolidation here, and then eventually we saw a nice pop to the upside. Moving averages are becoming very flat, so there isn't really much significant movement going on. As you guys can see, it's been very, very choppy. I think we're going to expect a big move from Boeing very soon. I'm not too sure whether to the upside or to the downside. Once again, I'm very unbiased on Boeing. I'm not a big fan of trading it right now. So that's as far as my sentiment goes for Boeing. Microsoft, we did. D-Dog. Let's see what D-Dog is. But in the meantime, while that pulls up, I'm going to put up the earnings calendar so you guys know. I think then also someone shared it in one of the WhatsApp groups. But let's see what D-Dog is doing. So Datadog, we're seeing it. Well, what I'm kind of seeing here is a head and shoulders pattern form, right? Once again, head and shoulders is a pattern that, all these are technical terms. Once again, a lot of my analysis is based on simply technical analysis. And what we're seeing is, we're kind of seeing this head and shoulders form right here. If you get a break below, I believe, let me see what that key level is. If you're not muted, please mute yourself. If you have any questions, write in the chat box, and I'll try my best to reach them. But as you guys can see here, this seems to be a strong level of support, right? That $83 level. A break below 83, I would begin to get a little bit bearish. Maybe play D-Dog to the downside to $80. But if it breaks below 80, I think we can see some downside for this stock, just because of the pattern it's setting up right now. But if we take a look at it this way, if it breaks above 92, I think has room to about $100. That seems to be it. But right now it's looking like a pretty bearish pattern. RSI is around 40 on the 4-hour chart. Once again, a lot of these stocks are, potentially going to go higher into earnings. That's usually what happens. Guys, I request do not draw on the screen, please, while I'm going over the charts, please. Okay. What was I saying? D-Dog, right, is currently valued at 40 on the RSI, relative strength index, right? Once again, these are terms that might seem like, foreign language to some of you, but this is all something that we teach within our advanced technical analysis class. But let's see. We're kind of seeing it, consolidate between these two areas. Above 92, I think, has room to 100. I'm not too sure if they report earnings this week. Just keep in mind, any stock that is reporting earnings this week, their options are going to be more expensive than they usually are. And even if your earnings turn out to be right, you might still end up losing money just because that implied volatility is going to drop after, right? So keep that in mind. Let's see, work. Let's see, earnings calendar. Okay, let's see what the stock is doing. So clearly it has some strong support, right? I think I'm going to focus more on the daily chart here on something like Slack Technologies. So what we're seeing is the $30 level was a strong level of support. We finally saw a break below it, and I think we saw a pullback, right? So we saw a break below 30, stock hit 28.87, then we saw a pullback. It still closed below. I think because of the current price action that we're seeing, we might see some move to the downside. It's not completely undervalued on the RSI, but I think we might see some move to the downside because this was a previous level of resistance, which then acted as a strong level of support. Now I think it just switched over to acting as a level of resistance here. So that's as far as the current technical analysis looks like for Slack, as well as it's trading below its 100-day moving average. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some downside for work. I'm not too sure why my screen is not showing with you guys. I think it's frozen. Let me try again. Okay, but as far as Slack, guys, that's what I have. A break below 30, which it is. It's currently sitting at 29.72. Aftermarket, it's sitting around 28, 29.59. Don't really have anything else to say about something like Slack. I don't really trade it as much. So someone said Boeing reports on Wednesday. Boeing is most likely going to go higher into earnings, right? So a lot of these large companies tend to go higher into earnings. Keep that in mind. Next stock that someone wants me to take a look at is Shopify. Also, Shopify was actually on my watch list as well. So I just got disconnected for some reason. I apologize, guys, for the technical difficulties we're experiencing tonight. Let me share my screen again. For Shopify, right? So Shopify has a very interesting chart pattern going as well. I think that from 870 to around 900, that $30 range has a significant amount of support for Shopify, as you guys can see on my screen. Before, a lot of people have been buying. There's been a lot of buying pressure present, especially at 870, right? So 870 seems to be a lot of buying pressure. I personally bought some of the Shopify around 970, right? So that's just what I'm doing. I'm not telling anyone to buy it. That's just what I'm doing. I bought stock around 970. So I'm currently at a loss, but I'm still weathering the storm. I'm holding it through. I think we're going to see it potentially break. If we can see a break above that moving average, I think we're going to see some nice upside. I was looking for it to break above 980, and I think I was going to test 1060 again and break some new highs. It is a little mid-value on the RSI around 50, so we might see it make some movement there. But the main thing I want to see is if it can hold the support around 870 to 900, right? That seems to be a large area for Shopify. It's currently at 930, so we did see it bounce pretty nicely. That's as far as Shopify goes. Once again, Shopify, I personally am a little bit bullish on it, even though it is a little overextended on the RSI. But once again, I'm bullish on this on Shopify. mRNA, once again, guys, this is another one of those biotechs. Be careful when you trade something like this, especially during such a volatile week like earnings. It can be very, very tricky. But as far as technicals go, right, I mean, this is simply news driven, so it's very hard to do technical analysis on this. But, $78 was a previous level of resistance. Support. We saw a break below it. It got supported at that 50-day moving average. A break below 70, a break above, 78. We might see it make some new highs. But once again, guys, this stock is just so volatile. It's entirely dependent on news. So if you're looking to trade this, I would highly recommend getting the paid subscriptions that are provided by UFA, and really take advantage of something called the Benzinga. Right, Benzinga is a news outlet that delivers news much quicker than any service. Right, it's one of the best. Once again, that's something that UFA provides. So if you're looking to trade biotech and you need high and quick access to news, I think getting access to the Benzinga Pro would be a very good idea for you guys. But you can't really do technical analysis on something like that right now.
The news on mRNA is that they received additional 370 million from the federal government for the vaccine.
I'm having a very hard time hearing you right now.
The news on mRNA is that they received additional 370 million from the federal government for the vaccine today.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, so once again, that is something that's a little bit more news driven. It's hard to do technical analysis on something like that, so I wouldn't really touch it as much, right? Some people who like to take a little bit more risk, some people who will have a little bit more experience in biotech can definitely play around with that a little bit more. But any more news that comes out about something like mRNA, I think you guys should definitely take advantage of the Benzinga Pro services that UFA provides. But NEO, so NEO has a very interesting chart, right? I mean, we've been seeing a gap up for the past weeks, right? We saw a gap up from $8 to around $8.72, then it gapped up to $10.67. So we kind of see it. It was supported around $10.67. It bounced up there again. We might see it. It's a little overextended, not too much, but I think if we get a break below $10.67, right, or even $10.50, I think we might see this gap fill around $9.37, and then a continuation to the upside. That's as far as NEO goes. Shopify, we touched on. AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, right? So this is one of those stocks, guys, that I've been talking about for a very long time in these stock market talks, right? And I think a lot of people made money on this last week, right? I think in the past, we've tried to play $60 calls, I think, around here. Let me see. You guys should be able to see my screen. Let me just wait till it loads so you guys can see a little bit better. But AMD is one of those stocks where I think where I personally have signaled, $60 calls, and there have been a lot of people, sometimes lost money from that. But bear with me as it shows up here. But $60, right, was a very, very crucial point for something like AMD. We saw a break above 60, and then we kind of saw it pull back to that $60, and then we saw a gap up to around 70, right? Now, for a stock like AMD, I think it's going to continue running to the upside. And as you guys can see right here, right, so this is the chart I'm talking about. This was some ultimate strong resistance that we saw, right? We saw sellers present here, sellers here, sellers here, sellers here. Each time, I think we tried to play calls, right? I think I played calls here once. I lost there. I played calls there. I lost. And then I think recently I made some good money there when it finally broke, right? So this is why I say, guys, this is what I mean by consolidation, right? When a stock consolidates for a very long time, it then sets up for a greater move, and we finally saw it break above, and the stock was up about 16.5% on the day. I think that the stock is currently at around $70. If we kind of see a pullback, I think a break below 66 has room to 65. It is obviously overvalued or a little overextended on the RSI. So a break below 65, it has a gap that needs to be filled around 62.1. So that's as far as AMD goes, right? But, I mean, as far as technicals go, I think that the stock has a little bit more room to run. And the main reason why is because the volatility is still very much present. So, if I were to add the Bollinger Bands, it would show us that the volatility is still expanding, which indicates that a greater move is still present there, right? Another stock that I want to take a look at is, let's see what else we have here. Twitter. TWTR.
Tilava, your screen share is off, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Twitter, I haven't really touched on Twitter. There was a gap that needs to be filled at 37. We saw it fill right here. And recently we saw a lot of selling pressure actually around that $40 mark. If we can see Twitter break above $40, I think we might see some nice upside. A little overvalued on the RSI. It's currently at 63 on the daily chart, but you know, that $40 mark seems to have some strong sellers being very present. If we see them, you know, get out of the picture, if we can see some more demand kick in there, I think we might see 45.86 being a potential retest, right? If we can see another test there, just because we've been seeing a nice strong push here. As you guys can see, we saw a healthy pullback, we saw a continuation, and this might just be another healthy pullback, and we might see another continuation, right? So if we see a break above 40, I think we might see it hit 45 this upcoming week. That's as far as Twitter goes. Once again, I mainly stick to a little bit larger cap stocks, not something that I'm really familiar with, so I don't want to say too much on it, but we saw some strong volume on this current day. So $40 seems to be some strong resistance for something like Twitter. Let's see, cost. Right, so all in all, right, this is the big earnings week coming up, guys. Let me try to see if I can get you guys the... Okay. You know, so cost, yeah. So Costco, as you guys can see here, we have, so this chart looks very interesting, right? It's a little overvalued in the RSI. The stock really had no direction for the past few weeks, right? It's sort of just been in this very, very tricky, you know, consolidation, right? It was kind of up, it was down, it was up, it was down. It was very, very tricky. Recently, we saw a nice break to the upside. I think now what I'm looking at is something that's a little bit more like a chart pattern here, right? We're kind of seeing it form into some sort of wedge pattern. I think if we can see a nice little break above that, stock can see some new highs. It might be reporting earnings this week. I'm not too sure. A lot of these bigger companies are. I think they might be. I'm not too sure. But if they are, just keep in mind stocks like these, you know, might not move as much, so it might not be as rewarding. But right now, we're kind of seeing a nice push to the upside. I think we're seeing some consolidation. If we see a nice little break out of this triangle wedge pattern, we might see some more upside here for something like Costco, right? Let's see what else we have. If you have, okay, Google. So Google's a good one. Let's take a look at Google. Okay. This is what we're seeing with Google. So Google is actually bouncing off of a very strong level of support. That 20-day moving average seems to be holding up pretty nicely. RSI is currently at 53, so it's not too expensive, not too cheap. So let's kind of wait out and see how it plays. I'm not too sure. I think a lot of large companies are reporting earnings this week. So if we do see them, if they are reporting this week, very similar to a lot of these other companies, we might see them continue to go higher into earnings, right? But as far as technicals go, as far as support and resistance goes, we saw some strong resistance around 1475. If we can see 1475 retested, I think we might see a bounce from there. Right now, it's currently sitting at 1508. Once again, if it breaks below and goes to 1475, I think there it might continue to bounce from. That's as far as Google goes. I'm going to share this right here. Yeah, I should see it on my screen. So there it is. All right, so these are a lot of these most anticipated earnings that are coming out this week. So these are a lot of the big names. Right? So we have Amgen, we have 3M, we have Pfizer, we have AMD, Shopify, Facebook, TDoc, Six Flags, Apple, Amazon. So all in all, as you guys can see, this is going to be a very, very interesting week, and I think a lot of people can make a lot of money in this upcoming week, just because, you know, earnings tend to be a very interesting time. And I'm not saying that, you know, to say you should go into a position before earnings comes out. I usually like to trade the post-market noise of earnings. But, you know, like I said, a lot of biotech, we have Google reporting. A lot of these large companies are reporting. So if earnings, you know, a lot of people are already know that the earnings are not going to be as good and as normal market conditions. So even if companies do report poor earnings, it's more about the sentiment and what they're willing to do in the future. So just keep that in mind for something about these large companies reporting earnings this week. Okay. Now, what else do we have? So let's see, WKHS work. Okay. What are we seeing here with this, right? So obviously, once again, this is another one of the stocks that has, seen a nice rally to the upside. Any stock that has a parabolic move like this, and they usually indicate that it has a potential parabolic move to the downside. So it's very risky. It's not something that I would trade. But what we're really seeing is we're seeing some consolidation being built up in the stock, right? We're kind of seeing it just bounce within this range, right? Between $13 and $18. If we can see it potentially break out of this and retest 22, that's something that the stock can do, right? It's not something that I'm looking to trade. It's not really my cup of tea. It is bouncing off the 100-day moving average, but the 20-day moving average is crossing over the 50-day moving average, so that might indicate a potential bearish sign for the stock. Also, there is a gap that needs to be filled around $10. So if this stock breaks below, let's say what I have here. If this stock breaks below $13.35, or if it breaks below $13, I think it might fill the gap for the gap fill at $10. But it's little valued at 41. Once again, this is not a very large cap company. It's only $15. It's not something that I'm very interested in. So I don't want to say much on a company that I might not know about or how aggressive it moves. Also, when a stock shoots up like this from $1 to $22, I want to see it develop a little bit more of a price history similar to NKLA, right? I want to see a lot of those stocks develop some sort of price action history for me to make some sort of assumption out of it. INTC. Okay. Wow. What is this? Intel Group. I think this is I think Apple said that they're no longer using this company, I believe. I'm not too sure. I might be mistaken, but if that's the case, that's obviously a very, very bad sign for the current company, right? It's completely overvalued on the RSI, and it just continues to be this sort of free fall, right? Moving averages, it's just dropping. So I'm not too sure about this company right now. As far as technicals go, I mean, as you guys can see, the very clear and evident support that they have is that $50 mark. If it breaks below 50, I think it's going to get caught up in this mesh right here. A break below 50, I think the next level of support it has is honestly $44. So if it breaks below 40, if it breaks below 50, is room to $50. But if I were to play this to the downside, I would be a little bit more conservative, and I would set up profit targets. So for example, a break below 50, my first spot I would take profit is $47. And then if I see an additional break below 47, I would try to trade it down to $40. Other than that, 43.63 seems to be the recent low, so we might see a retest of that. If we get a break up, if we get a break below that, then I think the stock might see even lower lows. Once again, when a company loses such a large client like that, it's very interesting. So let's see.
It's new. There was news that they couldn't produce the chip that they were working on. It's delayed.
Yeah.
22. I think that's obvious.
Yeah. So that's clearly, very big news for a company like this. I mean, the stock dropped 16.24% on Friday with a significant amount of value, right? With volume, I'm sorry. And another thing is, right, if you take a look at this weekly chart, it's a very bearish candle that formed last week, right? Also, one other thing that I'm seeing is that the RSI is, still valued at 38 on the weekly chart. So I think on a larger time frame, the stock does have some more room to the downside. Once again, a break below 50, first target is going to be 47, then 44. Then I'd probably try to scalp it down to 42 and 40. But other than that, if a company falls so aggressively like this, I mean, the stock, if you take a look at it in the past, is not it's not a new thing for the stock to have these strong drops, right? So I wouldn't be too surprised if it comes back from this. Once again, seems to be news driven. So we saw the stock drop like that before from a high of 69 to a low of 44. And I think that's where we saw some buying pressure being built up again. Stock made some highs of $65 again, but now we're seeing another strong drop to $50, right? So it's very interesting. But this happened on much stronger volume than the previous ones. I think the stock still has some room to the downside. Let me see if the volatility is still a little bit present. Bear with me, guys. Yeah, so I think the stock has a little bit more room to the downside just because the volatility is just beginning to expand. For those of you that are wondering how I came to that conclusion, right? I mean, that's something that I teach within my advanced technical analysis class. For those of you that have not taken it, I highly recommend you do take it. But as of right now, I think there is a far greater move coming to the downside for Intel. I think we might see a potential pullback, but it might just be a dead cat bounce. Despite it being a big earnings week, I think that we might see Intel see some more room to the downside potentially. Okay, that's as far as Intel goes. Let me see if there's anything else. Did we go over Netflix? No, we did not. Let me see let me just touch on Netflix. We might have, I'm not too sure, but we'll just do it anyways. So Netflix is another one of the stocks I think that was originally on my watch list, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, it is. So let's see if you guys can see my chart. It should pull up shortly, but it's bouncing off that 38.2 level of support on the Fibonacci retracements. We're seeing a very strong support around 465.99, basically 466, 465 seems to be some strong area of demand. If the stock, can break above 487, I think has room to 500. But obviously, the stock has made significant gains to the upside, so it's only due to the downside, right? But it's currently valued at 40 on the RSI. We might see some move to the downside. A break below 465. First target is going to be 457. Below 457 has room to 450. Below 450, I think it might have room to 440. On a larger time scale, right, long term, I think if it breaks below 465, we might see it break down to 432. But let me see if they're reporting earnings this week. No, doesn't look like they're reporting earnings this week. But let's kind of see how this stock responds to a lot of these other companies and what it does, right? So as of right now, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Let me see the chat if there's anything else. So we already discussed cost in Amazon. Pfizer, let's take a look. This will be the last one I do, guys. But as we're kind of concluding here, I just want to say, guys, we did start our advanced options in our advanced technical analysis class this weekend. A lot of students are getting a lot of value. We had about 15 to 20 students. So once again, guys, that's something that I think the best decision that you can make is just learn and invest in yourself. That's the best investment that you can make, as well as, helping a greater cause here, right? We don't really do this. So this is once again nonprofit. We do this to feed the needy and help those in need. So a lot of this is run by volunteers. So anything is appreciated, right? If you guys can donate something to UFA, UrbanHood, it would be greatly appreciated. And one form of that is to, take our courses as well as, not only benefit us, but the community and yourself, right? You guys can definitely take your trading to the next level. And, a lot of these courses, usually go for around $2,000 to $3,000. These can get very, very expensive. The knowledge that we teach is extremely, unvaluable, right? It has you can't even put a number of how much this information costs, right? It's a skill. It's something that we teach. And, I've seen a lot of my students have a lot of success with it, right? So Pfizer, back to this, right? We saw it break below the moving averages. $36 seems to be some strong level of support there. If it breaks below $36.75, I think it might have room to $36.77. I mean, the stock only dropped 75 cents. It doesn't look to be too aggressive, so it's not my cup of tea. But as you guys can see here, $36.75 is a strong level of support. So if it touches that again, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a little push to the upside again. But for the most part, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I hope everyone
How,
got some sort of value out of
what
this.
is your take on Anthem Inc?
For what?
Anthem Inc. Healthcare company.
What's the ticker for it?
Just write it in the chat, please.
Yeah, just write it in the chat.
ANTM.
ANTM. So being a healthcare company, I think it's considered obviously maybe a biotech. If they are having something to do with COVID, I'm not too sure. But I mean, I'll take a look at the chart very briefly. But if they are looking to
It's not a COVID company. It's an health insurance provider.
What is it?
Health insurance provider, like United Healthcare.
Okay, got it. Yes. So right off the bat, as far as technicals go, right? I mean, I think the stock is approaching some strong level of resistance around 275. A break above 275, we might see it hit 281. Above 281, we have a gap that needs to be filled around 290-ish, 287. That's what we're looking at. Stock is only moving around, 56 cents, right? So I don't know how aggressive this stock really moves. It's not something that I would be looking to trade, but I think if we can see some sort of news, some sort of catalyst come out, if they are reporting earnings this week, I think that's something that this company might be affected by.
I think they are reporting this week.
Yeah, so stocks tend to go higher into earnings, right? I mean, Anthem, I think it's a health insurance, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, actually. Health.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So health insurance, right? So a lot of this is, you would have to do a little bit more fundamentals on this. I think it's harder to do some technical on this, but that's pretty much all I can say on Anthem. I'm going to be very honest. I'm not very familiar with it. It only moves 56 cents. That's probably why I'm not looking at it. But if it's reporting earnings this week, if you are looking to play earnings, just understand it entails a significant amount of risk. Maybe explore different option strategies to kind of mitigate your risk, like butterflies or iron condors. That's also something that we teach within our advanced options class there. But for the most part, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Mushi, if you're here, you want to close it off, or I can. But for the most part, we have about 71 people in here today. Thank you guys all for joining. Once again, guys, please give us some feedback in the Discord chat. For those of you that are not in our pay goof, definitely join that. We offer dark pool services, UFA, Flow Algo, as well as Benzinga, and a lot of these rockstar traders provide their alerts, and a lot of people make money off of it. And once again, at the end of the day, one of the most important things is to gain some value out of this. So definitely take our courses and try to reap the maximum benefit of teaching others as well as yourself. Thank you guys all for joining.
Thanks for watching. Visit our website, UrbanHood.org, and join our community at meetup.com and look for financial freedom for you. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon.